Located only 30 kilometers off the African coast, Zanzibar is an archipelago formed by two large coral islands, Unguja and Pemba, which is surrounded by several smaller neighboring islands. Unguja, also known as Zanzibar by Europeans, is some 85 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide. The island's climate fluctuates between the monsoons that blow in from the Indian Ocean, the dry season and the wet season. The temperature varies little throughout the year, ranging from 26 to 28 degrees centigrade. In the 1st century AD, Zanzibar and the East African coast were under the rule of the Kingdom of Saba. During the 3rd and 4th centuries, the Bantus began trading with the Arabs who came to East Africa. They exchanged ivory, tortoiseshell, and palm oil for weapons, wine, and flour. In the 7th century, the Islamic religion was founded in Arabia. The wars which followed brought a mass migration to Eastern Africa. They brought their new religion, Islam, with them. Arab merchants called the eastern coast of Africa Zanzibar, or Land of the Black People. The first Swahili establishments date back to the 13th century. The Swahili culture was the result of the mixing of two very different populations, black Africans and the Arabs. These people later spread along the coast of the Indian Ocean. In the 16th century, the Portuguese settled in this region, but their occupation was fraught with problems such as complex sovereignty issues, collaboration, and outright hostility. But the slave trade brought people together. Omanis from the tip of Saudi Arabia once again conquered this region in the 17th century. The Aman of Muscat, Oman reigned from afar through intermediaries who were descendants of local Arabs and through a handful of Omani immigrants. In the beginning of the 19th century, with the creation of a veritable Omani Arabic African empire, Zanzibar became the empire's capital. The period of Zanzibar's greatest prosperity lasted from 1820 to 1870. This political and diplomatic center had the first United States consulate and was active in the expansion of Islam. In addition, it had numerous warehouses for seagoing merchandise and was a commercial redistribution point for the Omani African Empire. And the trade, which contributed greatly to the economy, was the slave trade. In 1830, Zanzibar became the world's largest producer of cloves, which increased its need for slave labor. These various activities drew a mixed population comprising Arabs, Indians, Europeans, Africans, and people from the Comoros Islands. In 1885, a commission representing Germany and Great Britain was formed to mark off the borders of the land belonging to the Zanzibar Sultanate. This action resulted in the substantial reduction of territory, which left only the islands of Zanzibar and a strip of land on the nearby mainland to the former sovereigns. It was the end of Zanzibar's sovereignty on the continent, and in 1886, the Sultanate grudgingly accepted the terms of this agreement. The British Protectorate was officially proclaimed in 1890, but the first elections were only held in 1957. The following year saw violent ethnic and social clashes as the pro-Arab and pro-African populations strove for independence. In December 1963, Great Britain granted Zanzibar its independence within the Commonwealth. 1 year later, the former Tanganyika, the Sultanate of Zanzibar, and Nyasaland united to form a new country, Tanzania. Tanzania's pro-communist orientation progressively led the country into trouble and confusion. Nationalism, redivision of the land and businesses, the replacement of the assembly by a court of the people, and the expulsion of Indians and Arabs. In 1977, a new constitution united Zanzibar and Tanzania once and for all. And economic development has given new life to the country. Zanzibar is the hub of the seagoing trade routes that link the Comoros Islands, Madagascar, the Seychelles Islands, Mauritius, and the Middle East. Following the example set by their Mombasan neighbors on the mainland, the harbor in Zanzibar is able to accommodate multi-ton freighters. As we said, since the 19th century, Zanzibar has been one of the primary producers